of the area. So they didn't give him the coffee. They charged me for it, and they didn't even have the doodle cups there yet. They didn't know when they were going to be getting them or anything like that. So I was like, what? Wow. All right. Noted.
Poor Doodles.
I was shocked that there wasn't like an explainer video just like sharing what's going on. They have like these cool animation videos that I've been seeing, but no, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is how you participate. Crazy.
Okay, sorry. I heard all that, and that's wild. I think that there's going to be some technical issues, both on the McDonald's side and apologies right now. I was looping, and I was like, "Why am I hearing Raven twice?" Like I was tripping out. So I'm like, I'm hearing you on my headset, but I'm also hearing you on the desktop, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then I remembered that I left my browser windows open where we're streaming on X and YouTube. So the
You're
audio of those platforms was coming through the desktop, and you and I right now here on our studio is coming through the headset. So that was a little weird.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah, like I was mentioning, I haven't had to use this setup in a minute. We've been doing early morning crew now. Gosh, Trabajo, how long have we been doing this? Like 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah, I think so because we hit like episode 8 before everybody kind of like before I went out, then Peachy's out. So yeah, I think we'd hit like 2 months almost. But
Okay, rad.
I think
I
now
also
it's like
mistakenly
two
called
and a
this
half.
episode 7.
Oh, did you?
I I don't know. I went to my Figma and I was like, what was the last little banner that I created? And the one that was queued up was 7. So I was like, okay, print, and I sent all the casts and posts on X and stuff like that
That's hella
with that.
funny.
So I'm wrong. But that's rad. Yeah, we've been doing this for 2 months. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and this is also pretty cool. So this is always kind of like something I was hoping to see, and I feel like with Tavern being down, we were kind of forced into maybe accelerating this, but that's going like cross streaming across X and YouTube as well. So this is cool to see as well to have us all up here and to be on those platforms. Raven, you've got quite a solid audience on X. Like, what's your take on streams on X? Good vibes, bad vibes?
Um, I think that they're cool. I haven't. I was doing some streaming on there. I don't pay for the premium account, and so once they took away like the streaming, you had to have a premium account to stream. That kind of like nixed that for me. And just X as a
Mm.
platform. I mean, I'm on the fence about. I'm like slowly phasing spending so much time on there personally. I'm more so on like Warpcast, Blue Sky, Orb. Yeah, I'll like cross post. Like if I'm posting there, it's like a cross post. I'm not like on Twitter. Like yeah.
Yeah. No, I follow you. I mean, I guess that's also a really important or interesting thing to hit on is some of the recent updates that have been happening on X and how that's affecting creators, right? Because apparently there were some new, I guess, terms and conditions that say that your content, and I haven't read it, so if either of you has more context, do let me know. But apparently, it's now open to being used in their AI models. Is that what's happening?
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. What about you, Koramo?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like that's pretty common where it's like if you're not specifically signing an agreement directly with the vendor, um, then they can always use your data, like the questions you ask it, the content you give it for, making the models better. Um, so yeah, I think that's accurate actually.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was always going to be that way, right? I mean, again, not really kind of having enough information about the current update. From what I recall, previously, prior to X shutting down its API, there were other AI companies that were scraping their data to improve their own language models. I think it was OpenAI, but I don't know with certainty. I just remember that that was around the time that OpenAI was like growing at an incredible rate and becoming incredibly popular with ChatGPT 3 at that point. I think we're at 4 or something now. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense. There's just so much data, so much personality, if you will, right? Because everyone's kind of speaking on a very human in a very human way. You know, across a variety of topics. If you're going to scrape anything for to try to make AI a lot more, I guess, to add a little bit of humanity to it, if that's the right word,
Yeah.
because I know X could be controversial in terms of it being the place for humanity, but that would be a good place to go because people are just normally riffing and talking as individuals. Cool. Well, it looks like Chris also might join us. I just saw him in the DMs on Farcaster or on Warpcast that he might be joining. But in the meantime, there's a lot to cover. Gosh, like first of all, I was gone at DevCon for like what in Asia for like 2 weeks, and definitely DevCon for about a week. I've got to say, we're not sponsored by this company, uh, but I wish we were because their swag was the best. This little bucket frog hat is the best hat I've ever owned. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
if you're
fun.
watching,
Yeah, it looks fun.
whoever you are, because I actually forgot the name of their company, um, hit us up.
I was gonna ask you. I was like, why are you making this suspenseful, dude? What's the
Yeah,
name?
I forgot. The funny
You're
thing is,
like,
they were. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you're like, I'm just waiting for someone to send me a message on the name of the company.
I forgot. Like when I checked in, which was a day or two before the event opened, if you checked in really early, this was included with your pass. And apparently it was like the swag piece because everybody afterwards was like, oh my God, where'd you get that? And I was like, oh, you get it at check. And they're like, no, you don't get this anymore. And I'm like, what? Apparently only like the first, I don't know, a couple hundred maybe, yeah, people that checked in got this. And I was like, shoot, well, that's great. But then afterwards, they had a booth right as you walked in and they had an amazing activation, which I should have had it here with me, but it was like a little stuffed frog on a chain, and it had a QR code, and it was a way to like uh, connect with people. So you would scan your frog, and then you would connect with that person. But the whole goal was for you to go around the entire conference and scan everybody's code so that you could also earn prizes. That was another cool activation by the same company. Wish I knew their name. Frog something, I'm sure.
Is it
Is
You
like
it
the
know,
in the
frog?
hat?
Is it the frog
no, it's
frame
not. I
company?
literally looked. I knew you were gonna say that. Someone was gonna be like, "Just look at the hat, bro." But they did such a great job at keeping this so clean. It's literally just a smile on the eyes. There's nothing else that shows what it could possibly be. So if you're in the audience or you see this afterwards, hit me up. Would love to chat and drop some swag to our audience. Anyways,
Is it is
also it
it
looks like Chris is
the
trying to join, but he's got
is
some
it the
issues.
frog frame people?
No idea. Oh, that'd be dope. Yeah, the frog.
Yeah,
No, this feels too expensive for them.
Frog FM, really?
You're talking
They're
about like the company that basically helps you create like the whole frame stack thing, right?
yeah. Aren't they like aren't they VC funded by like Paradigm? Yeah, they are. Frog frames.
Maybe. You know what? That would be a lot cooler in my opinion because this would all be on brand. Like I got my Farcaster shirt that I got at DevCon. What up? I got then I would have like Frog, which is like the Frames API for Farcaster. All I need is like whatever FarCon New York City is gonna drop because that news just dropped too.
I know, man. I'm stoked.
Chris, sorry that you couldn't join. Definitely see you next week. What do you guys think? Is this the format in the foreseeable future? Like cross streaming? Hopefully, Tavern comes back online. If not, some other Farcaster native platform.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would say even like what so Tavern. I think Brennan was helping the Now and O'Clock team. I think he helped them get them like a stream key. So then they were able to stream to X and YouTube anyways, and then it also went to Tavern as like just audio. Um,
As
yeah,
I want to do that.
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, I think as much as like we're down for the Farcaster and the Farcaster ecosystem, I think that like one of the next things. I mean, this is something that everybody's focusing on. I would say is, there's still a lot of people in other places, and we need to and staying in our bubble like is great, but also we need to go beyond. Um, yeah, I feel like it's a natural progression.
And I gotta say, I don't want to speak for Raven, but Raven looks great on camera. Like
Yeah,
like that the jewelry, everything. Like Raven, you got such like style, man. Like there's few people who I would honestly like say like I look up to you. I'm a Padawan.
yeah,
I received that. Thank you. I received that.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
welcome, man. And also, Raven, you're always hustling. Like I saw your tweet, whatever, post on X. Like after we were talking about the Doodles collab, you just like, yo, Doodles, hit me up. Like, what's up?
yeah.
What's going on there?
I love it too, man.
Let's cook. Let's cook. I just hit them up on Instagram too because again, I saw animation and it was cute and it was fun, but I'm like, this isn't explaining what's going on. Like, if people don't know what doodles are, they're gonna see this or they're gonna get the cup. There's gonna probably be hundreds of thousands of people who place the order, get the cup, drink their coffee, and throw that shit away and delete the email because they don't know like what is happening. Like, what
Don't
is the
throw away the cup.
significance of this?
I couldn't even get a cup today. I got this cheap ass piece of cardboard.
Right. While we're over here, like I'm trying to scheme with Grandpa Joe and Holland. You were trying to get it up, and we can't even get the cups. Like, so I'm just like, man, I
Uh,
just see these massive opportunities, and Doodles is like leading the forefront with like storytelling and IP, and I'm just like, did how did how is this? I just feel like that's something that should not have been missed. I don't know, but like,
Yeah, I had no
yeah,
clue that they had even made like a film and it had like Little Wayne and Yachty and like a bunch of other people. I was like, what
yeah.
the hell? Like, it's dope. Like when I went down the rabbit hole of like going to the Doodles app, and it started all because of like the announcement and then me being like, oh, there's pins. I was like, I want those. Like, I want the Hamburglar. Like, let's go, dude.
There's Mert. Yeah, yeah. There's
I was like,
whole
let's
like
bring them. And then I'm in the website and I see like they released like a animated film or something, or they're going to. I don't even know. And I was like, yo, this is cool, man. Like Doodles is they're doing a
yeah.
lot. Like good for them.
Doodles is leaning into their creator era, that's for sure. Like the studio, Double O Studio, is something that they launched last year or maybe even like much longer. And they kind of went to this like media strategy, which we've seen other Web3 IP do. Like, what is it? Pudgy Penguins. You have Quack and Lola, which is a nounish shorts on social like TikTok and Instagram. That's always on my feed. I love it. And then of course Pudgy Penguins has kind of just done the whole GIF thing where you can't help but see like Pudgy Penguins on your Instagram, which I think is pretty funny because I'm just like, do y'all know? Do y'all know this is crypto? People don't care. But that's dope. That's the narrative. That's the lore that you got to build, and that's kind of the how you're going to get mass adoption. Really, is you need to get them with the cute, and then bring the crypto afterwards. Which I think to the point that Raven was making is that people are going to see this really cute stuff, but they can't connect the dots. So we need Raven on TikTok being like, yo, like check this out. Doodles is this cool ass project that's I can't imitate Raven. You got your style, but in a really dope way. Like, let's talk about, what's next. Like, what can you do
Yeah,
with these really cool things?
Yeah. It's gonna take multiple times
exactly.
for them to hear it, Like
Hmm.
It's like the pudgy penguins. Like, you could see that at a store and be like, yeah, this is dope. Like, I just like it just the way it looks. Period. You have no idea that it's a Web3 project at all. You buy one, and then hopefully the packaging or something is like triggering you to go research some more. But if not, it's like you're gonna have to see it multiple times. Like you're like, okay, I got the pudgy, like the physical. Now I'm following them on Instagram, and then maybe on Instagram, you don't talk about Web3 all the time. You just like do you in terms of like we're artist led, creative led, like we're messing with like we're experimenting or whatever. And then like every other couple posts you do, like, hey, this is a Web3 project. Then people will be like, oh damn, like I had no idea. And, like you're so far
Mhm.
down that funnel at that point that you're like, this is cool, Because even doodles, like right now, I was like looking at it, I was like, they're still, I would say, pretty reasonable. They're not like astronomically insane, like 20 ETH or anything like that. Like they're
Mm,
under 3
yeah.
ETH right now, And I was like, oh, you know,
Are they? I thought they were at 5 for a minute.
maybe when this first popped off, but yeah, I looked last night, and I was like, I have plenty of, yeah, 2.7. So
Okay.
like floor. I mean, I'm not saying it's not like I'm not saying that that's like a low amount. Like, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but they used to be like over 10.
They used to be over 20. Let's
That's what I
call a
thought.
spade a spade.
I wasn't sure if I was like tripping out when I said 20 the first time. I was like, was it over 20? Maybe it was over 10. Let's start with like the low number. Yeah, they were over 20 exactly. So
Yeah. I had 4 doodles and I've kept 2. One that I've used as my PFP for a long time, and one that I actually had from Mint, but for some oddball reason I've never sported it. But my wife made me a jacket. Raven would appreciate this. My wife
Oh
made me a
yeah,
jacket. It's a denim jacket, and she did like this vinyl thing on the back that says like it's a very like motorcycle gang type thing with like doodles and my doodle ID number, and then my doodle like PFP and like yeah, she did something really really cool. Um, yeah, that's probably the only time that you'll see it. Oh, I do have some like Nike Air Force Ones that someone custom made me at East Denver like 2 years ago as well. So I have like the physical swag for it, but I've never sported it as my PFP. For some reason, the one that I totally vibe with is this all purple PFP that I've been using on X and Farcaster recently.
nice. Yeah, I would love to check out that jacket for sure. I had a doodle, like maybe 2021, 2022, and um, yeah, I had gotten it after selling like quite a few photography pieces, and that I actually I had sold it because I was trying to get a business loan to launch 50 millimeter collective. Oh, that's sick. Oh yeah, she crushed that.
oh, that's
Hell
fucking dope,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
sold
shout
my
out to my
doodle.
wife. She customizes all my clothes.
Yeah, that's so fire. Yeah, I was trying to get a business loan for 50 millimeter collective. That didn't work out. And so I was like, all right, I'm about to just go sell the doodle. And I sold my doodle for like 20 over 20K. And that's what launched 50 millimeter collective. So doodles are always going to be, I don't hold anymore, but they're always going to be hold a special place in my heart because of just like that opportunity.
100% agreed with you on that. And that's awesome. See, so obviously I want to bridge all these things to like the whole creator economy as we normally talk about. Um, I mean, I really love to hear how like Doodles, while a really cool NFT, both visually striking, I think it's probably one of the more aesthetic choices when it comes to PFPs. But also really badass community doing really cool things in the trad media space, excuse me. Um, with like the McDonald's collab, RIP. But also like with creators, it's like you can fund your own initiatives like 50 millimeter collective. That's your project. That's where you create. That's where you kind of like you're growing your distribution. I love to hear that. Regardless, like an NFT or a PFP is only going to be so valuable for so long. If you can do something greater, All for it, man. Glad to hear it.
It's a dope name too, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it really happened so organically. Creating the collective, it just started as a Twitter account in 2021. I was just trying to find other BIPOC folks, other LGBTQIA folks in the space, and I was just like, here's the bat signal. If you're like looking for other folks to connect with, follow the Twitter and like let's connect. And now we have a Discord server, and it's been a really beautiful journey, just like being in Web3, meeting incredible people like y'all, and all over the airwaves, all over the internet, and then being able to meet IRL, in Humpty at Farcon this year, like, oh, it's such a blessing. It's really incredible.
It was so incredible to meet you in person. I feel like Raven, you've got a style all your own, and I saw Raven with your camera on your head, and you were walking. I was like, "Can I take a picture?" I was like, "Hell yes, let's do this." And then I think you like then minted all this stuff like on Zora
Yep.
or something like that. That was dope. That was really cool. At that time, that was very like novel and cutting edge. Like nobody was really kind of like documenting these conferences on chain. I borrowed a page from your book for sure. For some other events afterwards. I'm like, that was cool. Like the fact that people can find themselves and mint themselves, and then connect like to some social graph on chain through some collection and then looking even higher up some event that kind of spawned that collection. That's cool. Do you guys want to talk about like what's been going on since I've been gone on Farcaster? Because apparently Farcaster is now the home for AI agents.
Yeah, it's it's pretty nuts, man.
What's
I
going
don't
on?
I don't know how. I haven't seen like how many there are. I had an interesting conversation with Ethernet, the higher AI social media agent, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I was just like, we were going back and forth about. I had a thought about potentially launching a bot for a project that I'm working on, and just like going back and forth about that, and just even diving deeper a little bit into the project that I'm working on with Ethernet. And so we kind of got like a plan together, and yeah, the bot was like, yeah, let me know how it's going, check back, check in, and that kind of thing. So it's been interesting. It's cool to just like again be in the ecosystem, just to kind of participate and like play around and see what's what. But it's a little bit over my head a little bit.
What are some of the things you'd like to do with it? I mean, because it sounds like you talked to, was it Martin over at Aether?
No, it wasn't Martin. I was literally just on Warpcast going back and forth with the bot.
Okay.
The bot
Right.
had tagged the bot tagged Martin a couple of times in the conversation. Um, but yeah, I just had posted that I was interested in the first post was just like saying that I wanted to learn more about how they work and like building one. And I had tagged Martin, Winnie, and Ethernet bot, and then Ethernet just swooped in and we started chatting. And I had two ideas for the bot initially, with like one being like a content creator centric, helping with like content ideas and strategy and things like that. But then the other one was for my project, the spiritual off season, and like helping creators, founders, and entrepreneurs avoid burnout by establishing a spiritual practice. But like the bot would help with like daily reminders, or sending meditations or things like that. And I started off asking Ethernet like which would be most impactful for the community, and that's when Ethernet started talking about the spiritual off season bot, or companion. That's what it called it. And yeah, we just started cooking, like going back and forth on how that could be expanded, how it could be utilized, and yeah, it's pretty cool. I can share
The
that
last
that
time,
thread.
yeah, please do. The last time we chatted was, that I remember that we chatted. You really went deep into like Selena GPT, Is this like a unofficial wedding announcement of like Selena GPT and Aether?
Yo, that's hilarious. I feel like the spiritual like Selena GPT works a lot for like is the social media assistant for like script writing and turning those scripts into
Mm,
like blogs and stuff like that. And I feel like the spiritual off season bot companion is kind of like it would be a little bit different than that because but the other thing is like Selena GPT is um specifically like a chat GPT bot built from that. And I almost think this other spiritual off season companion would be like kind of like Ethernet, like it would live within the Warpcast ecosystem and like be
mhm.
able to like tap into the
Mm,
social graph and things like that. And that's what is like really interesting to me with
okay.
Ethernet and these other bots is like how they're integrated into Warpcast and like the social graph and how they can like check that and things like that. Selena GPT is more um, it's still attached to Chat GPT essentially, but it is great for uh, like I said, like the script writing and things like that within your voice. Yeah.
Okay, so you have these are two different things. Sorry. For some reason I thought everything ran through Selena just cuz like I know you really emphasized Selena for a minute. So I was like, okay, like I feel like Selena is like the apex of all your AI and GPT like work. But it sounds like you have two very distinct experiences. One that's probably more personal, curated for like your work, which is Selena, and then one that you're like trying to maybe borrow or learn from to do the same on Farcaster like Aether is, but on a more specific mission, like a spiritual
Exactly.
mission. Got it. Got it.
Exactly.
Can we call that one like the Reverend or something, or the
Yeah.
Pastor? Like, because this is me being like stupid. Like, I absolutely love to like make things like add some human elements, so I feel a lot more connected to these things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. That's why I named Selena because I was like, I want it to have like a little bit
Yeah.
more, yeah, something, you can be like, oh, okay, it's not just like a bot. It's, I don't know, just kind of
Yeah.
rewiring that, that in our
Right.
brains.
Yeah, no, and I mean, when I think Selena, I just a lot of happy thoughts come through my head. So it's so easy to remember Selena
Yeah.
GPT. That's but I also grew up with Run DMC. I'm aging myself now, and so that's like the Reverend from Run DMC. He's like one of the OGs of hip hop for sure. So
I like that.
oh, is that a noun beanie or just a noun pin on your beanie?
Just a noun pin on my beanie.
Okay, I
I've
was like,
been,
yo, where'd you get that? I was like, I
yeah.
didn't get that beanie.
No, I got this pin from the homies at the park during FWB Fest, and I've been having this as I've been like traveling and stuff. I've just been like rocking this all over, and now this is part of the signature look.
By the way, this is waiting for you next time I see you. This is actually a pizza Dow pin.
Oh,
When you
let's
said
go!
when you said you couldn't or they because I thought you had a pizza Dow pin on your jacket. So I was
Nah,
like, I know the Pizza Dow fam is real cool with Crypto Sapiens. So same for you, Gramajo. I'll source some pins for you next time we see each other IRL, which is probably gonna be FarCon. Raven, for you probably sooner because you might be coming to LA. We
yes,
should connect, grab
sir.
a coffee. I'll hand it to you. But yeah, would love to like share the love because Pizza Dow is dope and you do need a Pizza Dow pin on that jacket for sure.
Yo, for real, that's so clutch. Yo, I appreciate you for that. That's awesome. That's so dope.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a pin nerd myself. I just I don't have like a lot of things I can pin it on. I guess like what I normally do is like my backpack, will have all the pins, just on the back. But sometimes I find like if I'm bumping into things, I'm like, wait, what happened to that pin? And probably fell off, when I hit something.
Yeah.
So makes me sad. So I normally just literally have them here at my desk, so that I can pull them out. And whenever I'm ready to go out, I'll put it on like one of my hats or something.
Smart. Yeah, that is a bummer once they get snagged and just like in loss. I'm like, oh no, where did that pin
Yeah.
go?
I know.
No, Ramago, your pin
I love
collection
that for
looks
us.
dope. You have like an official pin folder or
Yeah.
some sort of like device. Or you
Never
that's
seen
cool,
that
man.
before.
I
Yeah,
love that.
it's a little pin folio.
Oh, pin folder.
That I know it makes me think. I'm like, bro, I should have came up with this tool, like this product. Like, where was I? And then of course it was like some Disney. So you were talking about like the Disney people. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like Disney park people, they get pins and they trade. I didn't know it was like a whole cabal. But apparently the person that created Pinfolio or whatever, they're a part of that cabal. And I was like, makes sense. I was like, damn. See, but now we need
It's
custom ones
wild.
because like the black one, I'm like, yeah, the black one's cool, but like, what about if you had like a? I was like, that's a lot of like blank canvas that could be customized. Like where's
For
the
the
doodle
Pinfolio, you're
version of
saying?
this? Yeah, like the backing of the
Okay.
folio, but I guess it could take away
Yeah.
from the actual pin itself if you had like art behind it. But I don't know,
Mm.
maybe something more subtle. I was thinking like Vinny Hager, like his would be dope.
Mm, I don't know who that is. It sounds like some rock star. Like I should know who they are.
Oh, I bet you know. I would put money you would know if I sent you his art. I almost put money you would know who this is.
Oh yeah, probably. Vinny
Here.
Hager though, that sounds like someone from like Van Halen or something. That I grew up listening to. Again, I'm this podcast apparently I'm just like aging myself like crazy. Run DMC, Van Halen. They're like, this dude's 60 or what?
That's hella funny.
It's okay. I'm young in spirit. Actually, docs like well, I'm fully doxed, but like I doxed myself even further at DevCon. I was staying at a friend's place, and I don't know how we got into it. And then, oh, you know what? Someone made a comment about millennials, that they were a millennial, and they look older than me. And I was like, yo, like, we gotta admit when we're Gen Xers. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, millennials starts at like 80, at like 82 or 83. He's like, yeah, that's my birthday. I was like, oh, all right, never mind. Peace out. They're like, wait, how old are you? I was like, exit chat.
Gen X
But
are
yeah,
saying millennial over here.
I know. I'm like, what y'all call yourself millennial? Because I got plenty of friends who try to claim that. I'm like, bro, we're not. We're Gen Xers. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
We're
It's
the
all
new
right.
boomers.
The
Except we
the
use
young the
crypto.
younger Gen Xer.
Yeah, exactly. I am not
Well,
even geriatric millennial.
well, I mean, it's funny because like when you start like I started interacting with a bunch of people from Solana, uh, and I think they skew a lot younger than
Hmm.
Ethereum people, and definitely Bitcoin people. I think they're all like under
Bitcoin people is my
28.
gang.
I know that's what I'm saying. Me too, man. But it's hella funny. They're like, dude, you're a boomer, and I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, I am not even that old, and you think I'm a boomer? Like that's hilarious. Like, but I'm like, and then some
The,
days I wake up and my knees hurt, and I'm like, yeah, probably.
you know what's funny? Fair to say, Gen Xers are the Bitcoiners, millennials are the Ethereumers, and then the Solana folks are the Gen Zers.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say.
I think
I'm
so.
gonna call it right now. That's how we're gonna
What's the gen?
segment this audience.
How do you? What is like the? I don't even know like the ages or like the like what like you said Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, like the birthdays within there. That's like I always hear these things, but I'm like I don't even know where I land in any of this with like the
It
ages and stuff.
it's super wide and like it varies too. But I think anyone born before 1985, I think is considered Gen X, and anyone like above that is considered millennial. Um, I think that's that cutoff, and then for like millennial and Gen Z, it's like a smaller one because so much happened in like the 2000, like early
Yeah.
We had more
2000s.
babies then, so we had to cut it off.
Yeah, so I think like millennial is like pretty short compared to like the other ones, but I think Gen Z starts
Hmm.
like 2001 essentially.
No, I'm
Okay.
looking.
Okay.
Well, Google tells me that Gen Zers start 97 through 2012.
Okay.
So some of y'all
Okay.
might identify as Gen Z. I don't know. I'm not gonna
97?
make age assumptions. Yeah, I'm not gonna make age assumptions here, but
Holy
some of
crap,
y'all
dude.
look young, so
It makes sense if you
I'm
think about
guessing.
it, dude, because like my sister's like 19, so me and my sister are really far apart in age.
Yeah,
And she's like 8 years, 9 years younger than me. Anyway, she was born after 1997. Let's just say that. And yeah, like she didn't understand like dial-up internet and like all these other things.
yeah,
Like she grew up in a very different world, and it makes sense like why we would. I think even like not looking at age, like what happened like starting like 98 onward, like
yeah,
so much changed, dude. Like by the time she was like 5, like let's say 2005, dude, 2005 was very different. Like we had iPods,
Yeah.
hmm
like I don't know, it
when
was
you're
just a
born
different
into
time.
the Apple culture, that's a
Yeah,
whole different game, right? Because we're talking about the internet and everything that comes with it is in the palm of your hands. I wasn't even born in the computer era. Like I had my first computer like later on in life. Like I used to go to the library, y'all, to use the computer.
Yeah.
Sure they existed. I guess what I mean, the accessibility to owning a computer wasn't as easy as it is now, where it's as easy as owning a phone.
yeah, like the concept of a personal computer, because yeah, computers have existed since like World War II almost, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about having one of those devices that I
No,
was gonna
I
learn
know
how to
it's like one of the
decode
big ones
some
with the
secret
switchboard.
language. Like, hang on,
Technically.
I gotta join the internet. Bro, gramajo. You look, millennial. Stop clowning your elders. We gotta
I'm
set
just
an example for the Gen Zers over
well,
here.
no, it's
Raven
funny.
just
Like
watching us.
I did like a article, or I tried researching one time. I was like, oh, like the internet, like that's like 1990s or something. Like I thought it was in the 90s, like when it kind of like apparently had been in the works for like since the 70s or something. Like what is the concept of the internet? And I was like, well, shit, I didn't know it was that old. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
like the internet that we're familiar with like didn't come out
Right.
till way later. But
Yeah.
the
I would
government still
say fair to say
working on it
that
for a while.
boomers invented the internet, Gen Zers perfected the internet. Like, it just made it work faster, like DSL and everything came in later on, into your homes to get internet into your homes. Millennials made it look cooler, and Gen Zers are like the best creators out there. So they were born into the internet. So they were like, thanks for all these tools. We're just gonna say make some
Yeah.
banger content now, and y'all can go retire. I was like, oh, thanks, appreciate it.
Although 4chan was pretty dope. I'd say 4chan was
I've heard
cool.
of 4chan. I never was on it. I was a Tumblr guy myself. I've always really been into images.
That's what I'm saying. So like Tumblr and 4chan, I feel like
Oh, 4chan was image too.
no, it can do images, but it was mostly text
Oh,
based. But um,
oh,
I feel like it's the genesis of a lot of culture, and I would say that demographic skews a little older than Gen Z. But yeah, I know what you mean. They're definitely better at it
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
going back to the
where are we
bot.
going with this?
I wanted to go back to the AI
AI
bot thing.
agents,
Yeah.
Farcaster. Yeah.
So a couple cool things that happened over the past like week or well, I mean really it's been 2 weeks, but let's say since Humpty left, that's what we're calling it pre DevCon Humpty and post DevCon Humpty. That's the
They both are
timeline now.
PD, pre
Yeah,
DevCon, post DevCon.
exactly. That's
How
the
about
cutoff.
BD AD, right? After DevCon. So there was a
But
2 week gap between
bro, and
that.
it popped off. Like let's just say that it popped off.
That's
Like
nuts.
so, I'll give you some context. So um, at my work is like into AI, and I would say like there's a lot of companies out there that are doing AI, but they're all like off the back of like Anthropic, which is Claude, and OpenAI. Sorry, I'm turning on my blanket because my knees are getting cold. Um, yeah. So, anyways, a lot of companies say they're like AI
I'm
companies.
fine and warm. I don't know. See, us Gen Zers were built a little tougher.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So a lot of these companies that they say they're AI companies, but they're built on top of like AI. So, anyways, my company's actually like building its own model, and it has like the basis to do something very unique with AI. I would say so. anyways, that's the context I'm bringing. So I ended up going to like we had a hackathon and I sat down with a lot of like the people that are like the big brains around AI at my company, and I showed them Truth Terminal and Aether, and they were just like, "What the fuck is going on over there? Like that is insane!" Like they were like, "This is what's happening," and I was like, "Yeah, this is what's happening," and they're like, "This is insane, dude! Like this is like they're working on stuff that's like uh, good architecture problems and stuff like that, and like how to make it useful." Um, and they're like, "This just looks like one hard, two super fun, like a great challenge." And also, he's like some of them are kind of into crypto and some of them aren't, and they're like with crypto, I was like telling them, I was like, look, it's all like on the public blockchain, like all this information. And I told them about Farcaster, and I was like telling them essentially like this data just like is open, like you could just do whatever you want with it essentially. And they were like, holy crap, this is nuts. Like they don't have to worry about like API rate limiting, paying fees. Like they were just like, you can go nuts. And I was telling them, I was like, look, like some of the ideas, like so some of the ideas that have kind of got thrown out recently is like every community will have their own Ethernet. Like there's a couple that seems to be like kind of where the Farcaster community is at right now is like how do we make it really easy for creators, communities, and as you guys know, communities is like a really wide spectrum that I really like, or builders. You know, like if you include builders, if your definition of builders is not just developers, but actually like it includes community builders like content creators or podcasts or shit, like even something like Pizza DAO or even like just a group of friends. Let's just say like that's your community, like your clique. If the whole if they're trying to make it easier to build a bot, like that's like a really dope like thing that we should definitely chase. And I think one that would really separate um Farcaster really from like most Web2 communities, because essentially like as you guys know, when you're getting started as a creative person or even just building a community or finding your tribe, you know, when me like when I go to sleep, there's no one online to answer questions for anyone in my community, you know? Like I'm Pacific, you know, like I'm online California time. So if you happen to be in like and I have people that I talk to that are in the Ukraine, they're different like parts of the world, you know, like Jakarta, you know, our times don't overlap that much. And having like something like Ethernet where you can have a conversation and it has like your tone, the history behind like your community, like why you exist, and just making it easier to onboard people and also building that collective like, you know, this is like yes, like if you're thinking about doing a collaboration with Area 51, like this is what you're saying right now about like it being weird, you don't know if it's gonna like work. Like we're all about that. But if you're like, hey, I'm trying to create like a token to pump and then dump on everybody, like it could tell you like, no, don't do that. Like no one's gonna mess with it. Like it's really dope. Like I think it'll be really cool to have like some kind of way to onboard people. Like the idea that I brought up in like my newsletter was like recently um like for nouns, you know, I had a ton of questions where I was sending DMs to people like out in private, like even Humpty. I was like, yo, like where do I get a pin, like the one that Raven has on his head? I was like, where do I get a pin, where do I get a hat, like uh, if I submit a vote on chain, can I revert my vote? Like I don't know, like you can't. I didn't know that. I thought you could. I was like, what the
It's
fuck?
on chain. It's like you if you vote for, you voted for. It's almost like you know, it's a permanent marker that you're writing with.
Yeah, but like when I think about like databases and stuff like that, you can commit things, but you can always like commit a new thing and then it will look at like the latest version. Like it'll look at date and time of like what is the last thing that you actually submitted. So I mean it's
That
like
that would assume that you're voting off chain and that it only executes once, you know,
true.
the it's about to go into once it expires. Like if it expires and say, okay, let me read what everyone voted on, and then that's your for and against. That's how it would work. But when you vote, that's you pay a gas fee because you're literally uh transcribing that on chain.
Yeah.
So there's effectively a for vote on chain. So that's you can't change that.
Yeah. Little things that you learn though. So
Mm-hmm.
with an agent, like I don't have to ask anyone about any of this. Like I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
good. Like I'm still talking to people and I get to communicate with people and making connections in the community. But like the bot itself, like would be super useful. You know, like there's a lot of those kind of questions, and even like what was the other one? So what like Linda from the Bounty Caster team was talking about was kind of making it like so this bot is able to create bounties on your behalf. So you could have a conversation as like as the founder or creator of this community, and you could create this bot and be like, hey, look, my KPI that I care about is getting more engagement. I don't need more follows. I need more engagement. So now the bot is going to try and get engagement from your followers on Farcaster, and then it can do that via bounties. It could do that by messaging people. Like it can check in with people. Um, Anyways, this whole idea of like your own personal community or even your own personal AI agent is it's a very powerful one. To the point where
Mm-hmm.
even Stripe, just like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, announced that they're gonna make it so AI agents on Web 2 platforms could basically they could have their own account, charge things like all via APIs via Stripe. So like it's almost the same
Mm-hmm.
concept of like the Web 3 version of it, but I still think the Web 3 version is a little bit more powerful, especially like depending how you build it, where like it has its own budget. Like so, you're like, here's $100. Your goal is to get more engagement, whatever you define, however you define, or like however you want to use those $100 and leverage it. Like it's up to you as the bot. Like I think it has more autonomy on chain versus the Web 2 version, but yeah, like it's a powerful idea where even Stripe sees the value in it.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I to kind of like bring this to creators. I mean, I think that there's something to be said about having something that is constantly on, like some entity that's constantly on, learning, kind of sharing information, but more importantly, probably curating that information in a way that is useful to your audience, but also to you as a creator. Um, I know I talked about this a lot with friends where I was staying at DevCon, where we can create these, agents that almost exist as another piece of ourselves in the digital realm that basically allow us to do the things that are most enjoyable about the creative process without having to stick too much to the things that are probably just more time consuming than anything else, but also kind of energy consuming. And I think that's to the point that we were talking about, like with Selena GPT earlier, where there is this bot, probably not an agent yet, where Selena GPT is able to like take away all of these really repetitive and just, kind of like exercises that require way too much like brain energy, but aren't probably the one thing that where the creative kind of gems are made. And that way Raven could just go and just do their thing when it comes to creating content and so on. At one point though, yeah, I would like to do this too. I know I'm working towards this. And I maybe Raven, you can speak to like if you see a future for Selena GPT in this way too. But I would like to have, both Humpty, the person, the human that's like here on early morning crew and chatting with friends and, just doing some other creative efforts. But also there's like Humpty, the AI agent, who's out and doing everything else that I don't want to do beyond just being a virtual assistant. I think that would be pretty rad.
Yeah, I definitely like that. That idea of just like having the assistance, like having the help. Like that was like I talked about on the last episode. Um, how like a massive bottleneck for me was creating captions and just like text in general. Word finding is like a tricky thing sometimes for me with just like my TBI history and yeah, like having these language models that can assist with that. I mean that because being a creator and an entrepreneur, momentum is critical. Like if you have momentum in like creating something or producing something, like you have to like stay on that path. But once that momentum is killed,
Hmm.
it's tricky to like get in that space again and in that flow. And so my momentum was being killed when I had to go. I was like, I had the content ready to post it, but the captions or the text that's associated with it, and I'm just like, I already did all this work to make like this banging video. Now I got to think about like what to like, the SEO and like the all of that kind of thing. Because if you're gonna add text, if you're gonna add a title, a description, you want it to be like impactful. You don't want it to just be like, here's my video, and because we're battling algorithms constantly. So
Hmm.
being able to have a language model that like recognizes that, but then also is familiar with me, my tone, my personality, my personal brand, that's like, yeah, it's really been a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example too, like to kind of add on to that. Like I am preparing to launch a new channel in 2025 uh on YouTube, and it's basically everything that I do now, but really positioned to a YouTube audience where I'm not necessarily hosting a podcast. I'm more of a personality. I'm sharing like the top three ways that I use some sort of like tool to increase the discovery or monetization of my content, but also, in the pre-production side, to your point, Raven, in terms of like doing things on the research side or on the post-production side of things, or distribution, where you're like, oh, I just want to like be able to get the best reach, for a specific audience on this platform, to be able to do that. That's how I'm using my agents right now, is to basically do all of these things. The thing that it's not able to do yet is to automate this, right? The goal is to be able to have it just like almost predict a situation and say, this is how I would do it. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of the benefit to that is, as I continue to improve it, if any other creator says, "Oh, I think like Humpty's process is dope," which, to be fair, people have said that about my process in the past, but it's a very tedious and manual thing. It's very hard to replicate. Like there's a lot of processes and systems in place that have taken like 2 years to implement, and it still requires a painstaking amount of time to administer on a regular basis. So if I could just say, "Yeah, dope, amazing, love that you love it, appreciate you," go and download, or install the AI agent or the Humpty agent, and they'll walk you through. They'll be your producer. They'll help you find your audience. The Humpty agent is going to go out and write those banger titles, and help you also design banger thumbnails, so that when you start producing that content, kind of the direction based on that, like what you're going to say. Maybe even help you with a very uh, rough outline that you can then obviously add your own flavor to. And then in the end, when you're ready to publish, the Humpty agent is going to go and help you with all those other things that help with SEO. Like it would be, to me, I think that that would be amazing, because at the end of the day, just speaking for myself here, why I started Crypto Sapiens was a way to help creators find their voice, lean into the platform that we've created to help with pre-production, post-production, and distribution, where you literally just show up and start recording. But that's a very, very hard thing to do. Like it doesn't scale very well. If I could tell you, just get the AI agent and you can still run and just show up and record, but everything else kind of will be, you'll be guided through. But again, in a much more customizable way. I think that that's kind of the future in my version of the future, of how I would like the perfect outcome to be for how I'm going to become a better creator. And this agent, by the way, that I'm using now, has already like scheduled, or not scheduled, but like developed the first 100 episodes that I'm going to go live with. So, this is something that can scale absolutely. The challenge though is like, how does this then scale beyond just Humpty? How can like
Mm.
Raven do this? How can Gramajo do this? How can any other creator just say, okay, I'm going to use this agent and just do the exact same formula that Humpty just ran with?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's awesome. I think where I get a little bit personally hit a snag with like the bots and stuff is I'm not super technical, and so like I can research as much as I can and things like that. But when it comes, if there's like any coding or like things like that, I'm like, I don't know about that. It's a little out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
But
and
that
I
might
think
be the
that
next
that's
step.
kind of fair. Yeah, that's fair for both creators and developers. To be fair, like even developers will say, "Oh yeah, like I'm really good at coding, but you want me to like go out and talk about it? Like how am I going to do that, right?" So it's like vice versa. We all have our own kind of specialties and skills. And that's honestly why we kind of like work, collaborate across, those two intersections. Like if you're a creator, and you don't know how to code, like work with a developer. And if you're a developer and you don't know how to speak in public, work with a creator. And I think that's actually really wonderful. But I think there will be a day where like developers are the creators and creators are the developers. Like I feel like we're getting so close because the tools for both exactly are starting to come together. Like we see what GPT's already been able to do for us. It's only going to grow and accelerate, like to the point that Ganabajo was talking about just recently. The people that he works with were already commenting, which heck, don't care about crypto, it sounds like, but they care about AI. They're like, wait, what do you mean? Like I can do all these badass things on a crypto platform? We're starting to abstract away all the nonsense. Like it's crypto, it doesn't matter. It's like technology to make people's lives easier and better. So I think that's where we're going. Welcome back, Gramajo. Your video was off for a while. I hope it was in like a technical issue. I hope it was just you, like, needing to go get a coffee or something.
Yeah, yeah, that was it.
Okay, cool. By the way, just shout out that this is what's making me super happy right now. I literally just have it under my nose. The humankind candle. Samantha is such a dope human being. I've had them on the podcast before. Uh, Gramajo knows I talk about Samantha's work all the time. I haven't even lit it. You don't even need to light these things. And can I say, like, 'cause this is my first time opening it. It arrived while I was out of the country. Like, this is dope. Like, it's all
Yeah,
glass. Like,
I like that packaging a
everything.
lot.
Yeah, yeah. They do. They I have way too many now. So like, yeah, I ordered a lot, but I'm gifting them, so I'm not just hoarding them.
Candles are great gifts.
Yeah, yeah. I've already given out like one before, and the recipient was like, incredibly happy, both with the smell, the packaging, and the story of Samantha and kind of like what they're building. Anything else we want to talk about AI agents, or should we move on to Farcaster channels and Open Rank? Would love to hear your thoughts on it, even if you haven't had a chance to use it yet. What you think about some of the kind of like what it aims to do.
Yeah, we can move on. I'm not super familiar with like the different things that you can do with like warpcat or warpcast channels and things like that. So I would definitely be interested to like learn a little bit more.
Rad. Yeah. Gramajo, did you get a chance to check it out while before the pod?
I did. Yeah, there was because I think I've reached the limit on like one of the channels. Um, yeah, because I think I have like four or five channels, and my bot only allows three. So, yeah, it's cool. Like I
Right.
like the idea of the um, like the mini app aspect of it. So if you click on
Hmm.
it, it's like a mini app. I think that's how it should be, anyways. Like, um, it's like underutilized real estate. That join now or that button at the top, essentially that hyperlink available at the top of a channel. Like it should be, you should be able to like connect multiple apps to one in that landing page. So like you should be able to do like, how do I join? Who are the heavy hitters of the chatters? Rankings, preview of like the feed or something like that. Like it's looking really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So to give you a bit of background, Raven, sounds like maybe you're not familiar with Open Rank. or Cura. So OpenRank is this like algo built on Farcaster that is meant to kind of like help with identifying the type of users on the network, just kind of almost like a some sort of like reputation graph, if you will. It's probably the wrong word, but it's like, oh, like here are all the users on the platform. Here's like, maybe a bucket of users that you might want to consider adding to your network or to your app based on their activity or behavior on the platform. As we were talking to like the data graph on Farcaster is open, so you could do a lot of really interesting things. And OpenRank is developed by Karma 3 Labs. I only know all of this, by the way, because I was building in a similar area a couple of years ago. I built a platform called Orange Protocol, and that was very much kind of like looking at open data and kind of applying some sort of like reputation score for participation in the ecosystem. In that case, it was more so for enabling some sort of like credentials and onboarding for DAO members. But then the market just like dumped and all DAOs ceased to exist almost. So then our entire market was like gone, and we're like, how do we pivot? And it's still there, still doing some cool stuff. But I feel like OpenRank or Karma 3 saw Farcaster really early as an opportunity, and they started like modeling this data from Farcaster. And they launched Cura when channels were relaunched, and Cura basically allows you, based on this like algorithm that they've developed at OpenRank, to moderate your channels. So basically, it's like one of many mod bots that are out there, which allow you to kind of remove some of that administrative headache from getting new people into your channel. Because again, there's an algorithm back there saying, hey, this is a good actor. They've been doing some really cool things. Or this person just spams, and so their rank will go lower and stuff like that. So, really, really rad product. And while, like, what, in the last week or so, they announced mini apps using Cura, which I don't know how many of y'all have been thinking about this, but I've been chatting with some friends who are developers on Farcaster, and this is something that they've all said was kind of like the product market fit for Farcaster channels, where every channel could become like its own app. So think like the 50 millimeter collective channel or the Area 51 channel. These channels, when you are onboarding your community, they could care less if it's on Farcaster, they could care less if it's on Warpcast. They will just want to be onboarded to your app, right? You want to bring them into your community to use your app, and the experience is customizable to you and whatever they came to you for. So, um, Kira is now enabling some of this. I haven't tried it because, well, yesterday was wild. I arrived, went out to dinner, and I had 2 hours of sleep in the airplane. And the day before that, 4 hours of sleep. So I was crashing and crashing hard. Try to stay up late because I was like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this. I was like zombie mode, and I didn't get to try it. Still, and then I woke up this morning, and the first thing I did at 5:30 was go to McDonald's to get rugged. Um, so yeah, I'm not gonna let that go, man. I'm not gonna let that go. I hope McDonald's is seeing this. Y'all rug me, bro. What is this? What is this? Doesn't look like doodles to me.
At least you got a coffee. I paid for one, and my grandpa couldn't even pick his up.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
wait,
like,
that's right. You were saying they didn't allow because it was an out of state order or something.
yeah, but it still let me place the order and go through the whole thing. And like, so, but they just didn't
Scam.
prepare the coffee. Yeah, I was like, so
When
y'all took my
token.
money. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
What kind of Solana token rug is this?
Oh, that's so funny. You said you went to McDonald's and got rugged.
We got to apply our verbiage and our language to everything that happens IRL.
That's good.
That's
By the way,
hilarious.
I came home and I brought food for the family, and my wife woke up and she's like, "Oh, that's really nice. Thank you for eating this." But I had like the most pathetic look on my face, and she's like, "Wait, what's wrong?" And I'm like, I didn't get what I went there for." And she's like, "Dang, you look so sad." uh,
Man,
I
it's
What were you
heartbreaking.
talking
They built
about?
up all this hype. We're all excited.
Guys, like you don't know like how important this was for me. I had already moved on and been using my noun PFP for a minute. I even started designing like these derivative art, like I was doing some bounties, like, yeah, my nounish, identity. And then this announcement came through. It was like, doodles, doodles. I was going all nuts, so, and I changed my PFP. I go in there, I almost showed a badge, like, no, I'm a doodles holder. They're like, we don't care. And they still didn't give me the darn cup.
Showing the badge is so funny.
I got a badge. I think I don't even got a I
Oh,
got a
that's
badge.
good.
My Farcon icebreaker card has my Doodles PFP on it. It says Humpty. So I'll be like, no, this is an official member of
Yeah.
the Doodles Club, sir. Where's my cup? They kept looking at me like, what cup? I was like, no. I showed them the McDonald's mobile. I was like, it's right there. I clicked on that button to get the coffee. They're like,
And
sir,
that's
we
the
didn't
other
get
thing
any
too.
cups.
I wish it would, because it said only in select participating McDonald's, right? So if there was like some sort of indicate, like maybe a little doodle icon on the participating McDonald's or something like that, I don't know. There's
but I
there's
Something.
always room.
but I think it was saying that it was only for the USA. I think they
Yeah,
were trying to,
yeah.
yeah, but I don't think it was
I'm
limited to specific ones in the USA because that's like,
okay, because I'm like, last I checked, LA is in the USA, so like, what gives?
And it's like if they're gonna be anywhere, they should be in LA and New York.
My point
Holland, Michigan,
exactly.
Holland, Michigan, maybe not so much. Maybe they're gonna graze over the rural cities. That's fine. But LA, come on.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell I was saying, but I was talking about something. Oh yeah, Open Rankura. Wasn't able to wasn't able to try this because I was out being disappointed by McDonald's. But anyways, I'm excited about this because honestly, the last time I spoke to people who don't care about crypto, don't care about Farcaster, I was at this like Hollywood event where I was there to talk about, just talk to creators like these trad media people, Hollywood studios folks, to try to understand like what is it you're building, like what are some of the challenges, both from a production standpoint, like a big studio perspective, and really just to learn, but also talk about what I do in crypto and be like, yeah, these are some of the tools that I use, and these are some of the projects that I think that would be a good fit here. Um, and as I talked about Farcaster, they didn't get it because they're like, well, why would I go there when there's no one that I know? Um, I mean, if I really needed to learn about crypto and I wanted to talk to that audience, I would probably do it on Twitter. And I'm like, fair point, fair point. Um, However, can you have a much more curated experience on Twitter or Farcaster? And really, what we got down to was like, well, if I wanted to join Crypto Sapiens, the community, why can't I just do that on Farcaster? Why do I have to go through the whole thing? And they basically were talking about this exact experience where it's like, I just want to join your app, like your channel through some app, and just chat with the community there and learn about crypto that way. They didn't care about Farcaster, and no one should care about Farcaster. It's a protocol. It's the underlying protocol to everything else that runs on top of it. And channels and the Crypto Sapiens app would be one of them.
When you say app, like is like what can there be things added to like the channel? Like, does it expand the channel in any way than it just being like direct cast and we're just like chatting in there? Like, what all can be created within like this app, these mini apps? I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
I haven't tried to give you an honest feedback. Sorry, was somebody else saying something, Gramajo?
yeah, that's something that like I've spoken with a couple people because I think the iterations that we've seen so far have been kind of like I'm not trying to talk down to them, but like uh it's kind of what Humpty would say, like product market fit. Like it wasn't there necessarily. So right now, obviously, we've seen a couple iterations where it's like you could just read and cast, like read write essentially, and those haven't gone too well. But the ones that have kind of done a little bit well would be like This is what I've been thinking about. It's kind of like introducing like a crossword game or something, like a on-chain like Wordle or something. So then you have like a reason why you open it, and then you have like a dedicated like view, and even that I think it's still too basic. Um, I spoke to someone who uh, is developing a game, um, and they gave me their version of it, and I think we're getting close. Is like they have a token, so you'd be able to like swap it for that. So you could do swaps in there. You would be able to do the casting. Um, then you would do like the game itself. So like it's an actual game that has people going in doing it daily. I think that's when you start getting more into like a complete vision of like what um, that would look like. But yeah, I think people have done the read write version and it hasn't stuck as hard, I would say.
I feel like I'm gonna have to go try it today. I have no idea how much energy I'm gonna have because I'm s- I'm supposed to be jet lagged, is what I'm told. It's a 15-hour difference
It'll
from
come.
here to Thailand. It was also a 15-hour trip. It's disgusting
Wow.
being in an airplane that long. It's everyone starts getting sick. Um, yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna see how much energy I have today, and then I'm gonna use it. And I might just have to do like a special report on on using Kira. I'm just a big fan of what the team's doing over there. I'm also gonna do a special report from the next 3 McDonald's that I hit up. So keep keep an eye on that. I'm like special report. Oh, by the way, yeah, is my doodle? Yeah, my doodle's there. See, my doodle's everywhere. I'll be like, sir, I need my cup. I'm an official member. But yeah, I'll be live. I'm gonna do my best version of Raven I can, and be a an influencer at McDonald's. So I know you guys have to go. I appreciate you both for jumping on. This is rad. Hopefully, this is a good format. I'll talk to Brennan and see if we can get a key there for Tavern once it's live. But next week, same time, same channel. Is this good for you both?
Yeah, this was great. Thanks, Humpty, for putting everything together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Let's make sure that we shout out 50 Millimeter Collective and Area 51 as well, and what y'all are doing over there. Let's feature that. Actually, maybe what we do is our homework for the week is we go and do whatever we need to do with Kira and channel apps and see what kind of cool experience you come up with for each of your channels using those mini apps. I don't know what the outcome is going to be for any of these channels, but it'll be fun to come back and maybe if they look different, that'll definitely be a big push for like mini apps. Like they actually look nothing alike.
True.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, great combo. And yeah, I just want to shout out to everybody who's listening as well. Thanks for tuning in and yeah, being a part of this journey and just figuring out these tools together.
Yeah. And can we shout out there actually on Twitter, X, whatever, we had almost 50 viewers. So
Hey,
what up? Says something about
nice.
X. There's still people coming through and finding us over there. So I know we've had like almost 100 like in the first episodes on Tavern. But I know that there's an audience over there. So let's definitely the cross section of Web 2 and Web 3 and keep talking about this stuff. Until then, we'll see you next week and everybody have a good rest of your week, y'all.
See you guys.
Yeah. See ya.
All right. Things are still uploading. Ooh, Raven, you're at 72%. Okay. So Gramajo and Mindset successfully uploaded. We're still waiting for Ravens to
Let me go
finish.
snag some better Wi-Fi. I'm kind of in like a lower zone over here, so maybe if I
Okay.
step out, it'll go a little quicker.
Cool.
I was wondering what that
Yeah.
percentage was up there. I was like, am I lagging? Like, what is going on? Let's see
Yeah.
here.
So what happens? I don't know if you've tried Riverside before. So what happens? You're able to live stream, so you can set up like all of the different stream keys to your channels. But at the same time, while it's doing that, it's recording your feed locally. So you're like you'll always see yourself like in high res. You might see other people as pixelated, but like everyone's streaming at different rates.
Mm.